I-V-M.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TFG Indian Football Podcast. Interesting times, as usual. This is Indian football. Every week, something or the other happens on and off the field that requires in detail analysis and review and discussion. Kevin is here as always. But one thing, dude, we talk about a lot of negative stuff, or a lot of debated issues that are happening around Indian football. One thing where there will be no, dissection and counterpoints or something like that. One thing that's pure joy and a moment of celebration is Sunil Chhetri is playing 150 games, competitive games for Bengaluru FC today. And can you imagine how long has it been? He joined in 2013, and it's been just 5 years of legendary delivery, isn't it?
Yeah, and as enormous has he's been to the national team. He's just doing is exactly the same role for Bengaluru FC. Like the anchor for the boat. He is that man who's ever dependable, ever delivering. And it just goes without saying that he is the man for Bengaluru FC as he is for India. We talk about short-term successes, consistent results, consistent performances, and that is Sunil Chhetri for club and country. He's loyal to the club that he plays for. It's not the first club that he's given his all for. And coming back to India and choosing a club that just started in his nascent stage, and he's stuck to it. He is one man who knows if he's giving his all for one club, it's going to be delivering. And it goes without saying, his performances are equivalent to the club's performances.
Yeah, it's amazing. Part of it is a little bit sad because, of course, he started his career at Mohun Bagan. He never really had the kind of delivery for that club as he had for Churchill or Bengaluru FC. Maybe part of that was due to injury, part of that was he was too young, he was starting out. But so many things have happened in this man's career. He's gone out, put himself out there, just going out there and testing himself in conditions where very few Indian players go. And it's amazing to see. It's not just about playing 150 games for a club. In Indian football, that's a big deal because players move around so much. You play 150 games for a club, you're close to legend status. And of course, he is a legend in the national team in Bengaluru FC. But it's brilliant. I think one of the reasons why he just became so immersed with the club was that when he left India, went and played in US. He went to Sporting Club de Portugal. Came back. He was, I think it was Churchill Brothers. He was back on loan after failing to make it into the first team over there. He was in a very different level, and same thing happened with Gurpreet as well. When he went to Europe and tried his hand at a tough team and had to fight for his position every day. He comes back and he was playing for national team. He came back and played for Bengaluru FC. His game was at a very different level, which is what happened with him there. He comes back and plays for Churchill Brothers, and Churchill Brothers won the league that season. Sunil Chhetri played a very important part in that. And then, he got scooped up by Bengaluru FC, and he was the top scorer when they won the league that season. For them, he was the top scorer. And just at the debut season, he helped them win the title. And how much that would have altered the course of history had Bengaluru FC not won the title. Because just a young club, obviously nobody would find fault if they took 4 or 5 years to get adjusted and then start challenging for the title. But just going out there and immediately winning it set Bengaluru FC apart. It set the club culture apart, and it was an affirmation for everybody that what they were doing was working. They were getting fans, the club was running smoothly, and the stuff they all talk about is the club is a family and all that stuff. All that was affirmed by the success on the field, and for that they needed a leader. And here's Sunil Chhetri, who spent outside India for a while, and even Gurpreet has talked about it. You miss home. You miss not just your actual home, but having that emotional anchor at a club, because you don't feel you don't feel the amount of you're not celebrated and treasured or whatever, or given the amount of respect that you get here, and I think he missed that. And when he found it in Bengaluru FC, that's what became everything, because he realized this is what I've been looking for all my life, and he delivered for that club.
To make it even more interesting, this club has not come out from Kolkata.
Yeah.
When you come out from Kolkata, it's easy to get on the bandwagon. Okay, yes, we are a Kolkata club. We have the rich tradition, history with us, and it's easy to sail through. Coming in from a state where there's not got huge amount of history backing them, not a lot about success that can get into the mainstream easily. So they tried something in a way that no other Indian club has done. They were brave enough, and to have to take that brave and bold step, you need someone to relate to in terms of quality, in terms of leadership. And Sunil Chhetri was the right man to have him to go ahead in this revolution that they came up with.
Yeah, well, it actually helps in a way not having a history, because then Sunil Chhetri becomes a part of the pioneering generation, and he's the main inspiration. Whereas in East Bengal or Mohun Bagan, he'll just be compared to 100 strikers that have come and gotten them trophies. So he just becomes another man in that long line. But yeah, this is how it's done. I was speaking to a couple of Neroka players just offhandedly a couple of days back, and they have played in other Indian clubs before. They were talking about this, that when you are playing for Neroka, you feel this idea that you are breaking barriers every single time, and it's special. You're setting records. You are being cherished by an entirely new community that has been exposed to top division football. And the same thing happened with Sunil Chhetri, I'm sure, at Bengaluru FC, and all the other players who were part of those original 2-3 years of the Ashwamedh that Bengaluru FC did on Indian football. Maybe it's still going on. They're still at they're second in ISL table. They will be if they win tonight. They're facing Delhi Dynamos. So there's a chance they will win tonight, and they will go to the top of the table. So maybe that Ashwamedh is still going on, and what a leader to have in Sunil Chhetri for that. So, dude, any favorite moments of Sunil Chhetri in Bengaluru FC jersey?
And it's difficult to spot one, because it's been full of moments that has defined that revolution we talk about, and just sticking by it. The best part for Bengaluru FC and Sunil Chhetri, and it's that final that they got through. That pain that when we saw in the Indian club there, right up there, so close, and yet not being able to get the hand of the trophy. That was the best moment that I thought Sunil Chhetri got in for the club and country. At least a club at that national level there.
Yeah, I think that's part of the deal, that he becomes he emerges as this leading figure, not only by how he conducts himself in victory, but also in defeat, and how he keeps the team banded together. We're fanboying out all over here, man. There's just no other way to put it. The guy who's been the AIFF Player of the Year for like 5 times. I think he's got the Arjuna Award. He's won every single trophy out there, man. I mean, even Super Cup, which is 1 year old, that he's won that too. So there's just nothing else left. I think he's won Durand earlier in his career. It could be that Durand is the one trophy that he has not won. Who knows? But yeah, that's something to look forward to. He keeps getting younger every day, and of course, there's a long career ahead of him. But yeah, I think we should really, in all seriousness, take some time to celebrate today, because maybe this is the last big milestone that he's gonna have in his career in terms of number of matches played. Because it's 100 matches in national team has happened, 150 matches for Bengaluru FC. Is he gonna get to 200 matches for Bengaluru FC and prove me wrong? Who knows? Let's bet on that. But yeah, that's about Sunil Chhetri. And of course we're in celebratory notes over here, and everything is positive whenever we're talking about Sunil Chhetri. Somebody else out there with whom the situation is not positive at all. He was he became the chosen one, a celebrated figure in Indian football a few weeks back, and then the shit hit the fan, and it's Gaurav Mukhi who became the youngest goal scorer in the history of ISL. Turns out
momentarily.
Yeah, momentarily. I don't know, man. I really don't know what exactly is going on with that, because if you go back, the best perspective in this is obviously from Akash Sharma on Twitter, who's been kind of a crusader in terms of age fraud in the recent times. So he pointed out that it seems like he got the punishment of the first offender. Okay, so it's 6 months suspension, which is the minimum possible, right? And the registration was revoked. It seems what he submitted in the central registration system recently, which was a attempt to correct the thing. Like he was older before, and then he submitted new papers saying, no, my age was too much before, now it's less. So yeah, it seems like he might get off with just a 6 month suspension and a pat on the back. He might his registration is revoked, but whatever AIFF Disciplinary Committee has said is it does not explicitly say that his current registration, which says he's 19 years old, it does not say that this is invalid. Gaurav Mukhi says that the other documents that he submitted earlier, that was not correct. So he's actually 19. I think so far that's what he's maintaining. So he gets suspended now for 6 months. Then he re-registers. I'm not sure if he will get into ISL teams immediately, but he still has a chance to re-register, still be a 19 or 20-year-old at that point, and work his way back up and play at the highest level. He still has the chance.
Let's understand this, just rewind it a bit. 2015, sub-junior nationals, Jharkhand wins the trophy. And after a while, 5 overage players are found in the team. And among them is Gaurav Mukhi. This is 2015, about 3.5 years back. And that was the first offense that we talked about, being overage. And it led to sanctions. It led to being stripped of the trophy. And also some fine that was levied on the club, on the Jharkhand Association. So that was the first offence we're talking about. After that, he resurfaces 3.5 years back, and he's part of the ISL. He's got into the franchisee, and we're not playing an underage or age group tournament here. So it's an open tournament. The ISL I'm talking about. We do have a couple of players who are talked about from the reserves or from the development side. So Gaurav Mukhi does score a goal against Bengaluru FC, and then it just makes him just a success overnight there again to get in that equalizer. So we were talking about an offence that is committed for the second time, and we're talking about documents being submitted for the second time by the same player, and after the goal is scored, and when we took him as the youngest player to score in the ISL, that is when it's re-verified. Now what's happened is the Sierra system, where you upload the player's data and the documents, so it's verified by the AIFF. Now this is twice that has happened, and the offence that he's committed does not actually violate too many rules. At least talking about the ISL, because we are past that age group tournament. So my problem over here is
one point I want to get in is that if he is registered as a developmental player, which I think he is by Jamshedpur FC, and he is actually not 19 but like 23, 24, some shit like that, then Jamshedpur FC are in violation of signing an overage player in the developmental quota, because he doesn't get to be a developmental player at 23 or 24. So yeah.
Right. So this also now applies to the franchisee apart from the player itself. So I feel there's something, and on part of there's three levels now. We're talking about the player himself, fudging documents there. We're talking about the franchisee, not being able to make a background check on his age verification. And finally, at fault is the AIFF CRS system, where that is the ultimate. We are checking for age verification. Now, revoking the CRS, just allows you to continue what you've done twice before. So it's just allowing you to come up with fresh documents, after 6 months. Where is the verification gone? Has it not been done at the first attempt, 2015? Has it not been done again when he was part of the ISL franchisee? And the third time, then again, it's going to happen. So we have failed at three levels over here, and we are failing the third time, I would feel. If this will be allowed in the system, then we have a loophole there.
Well, I think, that's where the argument that has been put forth by Gaurav Mukhi is. I don't know who's giving him the advices, but it's genius. What he's saying is that the old one was incorrect. The old documents that he submitted when he was playing for Jharkhand, I think that's what he means. That showed him as overage. He's saying the overage documents were incorrect, and the current documents that he's giving are correct. So right now, whatever his passport says, well, then I don't know, man. I mean, oh wait, I just completely messed up how old he is. He's actually supposed to be 16 in the documents, right? Not 19. Goodness me, there's like so many ages. I'm just talking to you and I'm mixing up the numbers. So what he is actually saying is that the 16-year-old saying passport is correct, right? And whatever he submitted before, which was a 19-year-old, or which would make him 19 or 20 or 21, that is incorrect. That's the argument he has put forth. Now, I think part of the reason why AIFF Disciplinary Committee has not just gone out addressing that is because this becomes an issue of a criminal offense, right? Because law enforcement might look into this. It's illegal to forge government documents, right? And part of the reason why Jamshedpur FC might be off the hook here as well is that they have made the TW3 tests compulsory in the junior stages now, which is like age-restricted stages, under 13, under 15, under 17, and all that jazz. But I don't think you have to do an age test in the ISL or I-League or the senior tournaments, right? So what happens here is that the old standard applies, where if a player comes out and submits Aadhaar card or voter card or passport, something like that, which is a government-verified age document, the club has to accept it, the club or the academy. Right, because it's a valid age document. What can you say? So unless they have a particular reason and they want to go out and make a whatever you want to go in and suo moto take action and take a age test or whatever, that is the club's prerogative, but they are not mandated. They don't have to do this. And if you don't have to do this, who's going to do it, right? So Jamshedpur FC might just be in the clear here. Maybe the follow-up to this is a actual criminal investigation where they look back because see, AIFF Disciplinary Committee is not going to send a officer or a detective to look up his old birth records in the panchayat or the hospitals or old ration cards or old school certificates or whatever kind of documentation exists in the government records. AIFF Disciplinary Committee is not going to investigate all that stuff. A criminal investigation will. So all that will be taken into account, and only then you can actually find out that at which stage the forgery has taken place and how many times, and that's the that's the only way we can get a proper resolution here. I think maybe an age test will if it's done, and he's of course age test has like a 1 year 2 year kind of period. So if it shows he's 18 or 19, then there is that margin of error that you can say like, okay, maybe he has not forged the document. He will have that argument. But if it's more than that, yeah, he will get caught in an age test. But I don't see, because he's not trying to play in I-League under 17 or something like that, I don't see anybody mandating a age test on him. Right, and he's proved himself in senior football. If he comes in, if he doesn't get into ISL, he'll probably get into League One very easily and be a good player. A couple of years later, make his way back into the top division, and play as if nothing happened. All that shit is in the past. Are we okay with that, man? I mean, somebody just getting a 6 month. I mean, it's not like he's not getting punished. He may if the criminal investigation finds him guilty, he may go to jail. That is a still real possibility there, but I'm doubtful how much of that will happen in the end. But so are we?
It's highly unlikely that is to happen, because when we're talking about a player who's accepted that he wasn't aware of the documents that he was he presented. Probably he's not the one. He presented on behalf. Somebody presented on his behalf. That's what he's claiming. He might just get away off the hook there.
So yeah, I mean, we will have him also giving the argument that when he signed those old documents, he was a minor, and he did not know. So he might be off the hook for that. When you commit such a crime as a minor, that's not as much of a bad punishment as when you're an adult. And in the end, when all is said and done, his current passport may be deemed valid, which is messed up, because that would mean that legally he would still be 16 when he scored the goal, and the record will stay with him. So I don't know, man. That's not a very positive image for Indian football. I think what all these academies and clubs need to do is to ASAP come up with a player who's younger than the declared age of Gaurav Mukhi and get him to score a goal, so that the record is not with him anymore. Because it's not a good look, man. All this controversy and the record still being with him in the end. So yeah, that's what is going to happen. I doubt we've heard the end of this, but we have come to the end of the first half of the show. We will pause for a break. On the other side, we got I-League and ISL and some other unpleasant stuff that's going on, e.g. the referees.
Hey, it's been another great week on IVM Podcast. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This week we have a new history podcast, Echoes of India with Anirudh Kanisetti. The inaugural episode narrates the story of Gandhara, the melting pot of the ancient world where Indo-Greeks worshipped Greco-Indian gods. On Cyrus is joined by Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch. Varun recollects his early days as an intern on MTV Bakra, his many oddball jobs, and his new podcast, Advertising is Dead. Yes, that's right, he has a new podcast. Launching on the 27th, each week Varun will discuss the changes and developments in the business of advertising, branding, content, media, and a whole range of issues that exist within the industry. Episodes are out every Tuesday. On the Scene and the Unseen, Amit Verma is joined by author and journalist Matt Ridley to discuss the evolution of the universe, life, culture, our minds, and our futures. On the Geek Fruit podcast, Tejas and Dinkar slowly lose their mind while they're trying to process just how much they were disappointed by the Fantastic Beasts sequel. Last week on IVM Likes, Abbas and Surbi talk about Homecoming the podcast versus Homecoming the show. Also, we're reaching 100 episodes of IVM Likes soon. Share your favorite moments from the show with us and your most memorable recommendations. You can write to us at shows@indusvox.com. Also, send us a voice note if you can, and we'll play it on the 100th episode. And with that, let's continue on with your show.
All right, welcome back. We have talked about the good in this episode, which is Sunil Chhetri, the bad, which is Gaurav Mukhi. Now it's time to get into the ugly. which is the refereeing, man. What on earth is going on? Like, they didn't learn anything from the last season. And I thought like the first season would be bad because, of course, the domestic referees are suddenly, doing twice the number of matches, no resting period and all that stuff. It's rough, and new referees would take time to, develop. The solution was to get some outside, input and just, increase the number of referees by 30 to 40%. Get a few overseas referees into the mix as well. Nobody's stopping them from doing that. The Referees Association may be pissed off with that, but they can't grow the number by 30-40%. So what do they have to say in the end? AIFF would be completely justified if they just, for I-League and ISL, hired a good number of foreign officials who complemented the whatever number of referees that are there in India registered. So, but they haven't, man, and they're messing up every single day. Like Kerala Blasters were on the receiving end of bad decisions. East Bengal were denied a penalty, I think, when they were playing this thing. Sorry, it was not a penalty. It was a goal, actually. The freaking ball went in, and everybody saw it other than the referee. And a lot of people were talking about how nobody from the East Bengal team protested. And I wanna point out something, man. Like, Minerva Punjab had a goal disallowed last season, and this was in the final stage of the league, where they were going for the championship. And one of the goals was disallowed, or it was a penalty not given. And I remember the camera cutting to Gift Raikhan when the decision happened, and he did not react. He did not get angry. He did not shout at the fourth official. He just hung his head and shook his head, because people have come to expect this now, that some referee will make a mess of all your hard work. So that's where we are now, man. We expect the referees to get shit wrong, and man, it's a shitty place to be, man.
Coming back, where the problem has started is it's not the number of matches that they are going through. It's the shortage of referees that we have. It's just overburdening the referees that are already there, and it's not. ISL also has done its bit. We talked about premiership guys coming in and getting those workshops done for the referees, to help them make better decisions. What more can you have do to the referees' knowledge and experience? It's a tough job. Let's accept it. Even the top referees also come up with wrong decisions, or not the right decision. It's wrong. It's not the way to go. It's difficult to understand being in their shoes and watching the game at full speed. So they're not helped with the benefit of replays, or kind of assistance that you would need from the video side. So it's understandable that they can get quite of decisions not right. But it's wrong to blame it entirely on them. It's just too much for them, too much to ask from them. But when you're talking about small things that can be changed, I do agree. Some of the suggestions coming up on social media, having an additional linesman or additional, a goal line ref for that, as we saw in Champions League matches. At least that can be implemented. If again, it comes down to the cost. Can it work out in the budget that the teams have? The league is running also on tight budgets everywhere. So decision, yes, it can just change the course of the game for one match, but it can alter the course for till the season end as well. The 1-2 decision that you don't get in your favor, it could turn out. But that's the beauty about leagues. You can't blame one decision to win or to lose a season. It's an aggregation. It's an accumulation of so many matches that we play along the season. So it really can't be pinned down to one or two decisions that change the course of the result of the season.
Yeah, well, but when it's happening so frequently, it has an effect on the final outcome of the season, right? And just especially look at I-League. It's so competitive. It's mind-boggling. Like the last few seasons back to back have been decided on the last day of the season, and one wrong decision on that day on any game could have completely changed the map of the league. And just look at how close the league is. It's 1 point or 2 points between them, which is, if one wrong decision can make the difference of winning and losing. And so that's 3 points we're talking about. One wrong decision can potentially affect 3 points. And if the league is being decided consistently by 1 point or 2 points, then one wrong decision can potentially change the outcome of the league. And it's bad to be in the situation where referees are sometimes even overstepping, man. Like Chennai City won. My mind is boggled that nobody has really picked up on this. What happened with Chennai City in ISL, right? There was a bad decision. There was a handball appeal that was not given. And the Chennai City player went and complained, and he got yellow carded. So the Chennai City FC head coach Akbar Nawaz goes to the fourth official and asks, "Is this the standard of refereeing you have here?" Because he was pissed. Everybody would be pissed in that situation. They picked a fight with him, and he alleges, and this is in an official complaint letter written by the Chennai City FC team manager, that the assistant referee challenged Akbar Nawaz to a fight, to a physical fight. How does this happen? How did we come to this? Where the referees are trying to have a fight with a head coach, and apparently the goalkeeper coach was challenged by the fourth official, which is it's just dumb. How just this? Then what happened was that they did not give him a red card, right? And they told him that you are banned from the bench. You have to go and sit in the stands. So that's what Akbar Nawaz did. He went and sat in the stands, and then they told him that you can't be on the bench in the next game also, as if they have given him a red card, but they have not given him a red card. So Chennai City went and appealed that he was verbally told that he's suspended from the bench in the next match. They did appeal that, and the AIFF, they just did not have any answer, because how can you be banned for a match and a half if you have not been given a card?
Yeah.
Right?
I think that definitely calls for action, at least following the written complaint.
Yeah.
So that should be looked into. At least a small inquiry, can lead to at least non-repetition of such actions.
Yeah, I mean, this is bullshit, man. I mean, I don't know what they tried to get away with here, and I have a theory on why he was not given a card. Because a referee can go ahead and give a card, right, to a head coach if they are not doing if they're misbehaving. Yeah. But I think what they may have done is that not given him a card, because if a card happened, then this would become a disciplinary issue that would officially be open with the disciplinary committee, and the club has an official channel to appeal against a red card, right? So if this becomes a hearing at the disciplinary committee, and Chennai City can make their case, and the referee could get screwed if they are able to make a case that it was not Akbar Nawaz who was behaving badly, it was the referees who were the aggressors in this case. So if that happens, then they have a problem. So maybe they just thought Chennai City would not, muddy the water if they had not given a red card straight away. But how much of a mind fuck is this, that you are told to go and sit in the bench, go and sit in the gallery, and then you're told that in the next match you are suspended and not given a card.
It's just stupid, I feel. But again, this has to be brought into the light, and which Chennai City clearly did. We are talking about teams that have been leading at least at some point in the league stage. This happened with Minerva Punjab in the last season. We talked about multiple controversies with the owner who was part of the dugout there, Ranjit Rajatan, and on multiple occasions we saw him get involved with the assistant referees with the force.
He was shouting the referee is a cheat straight away during an I-League game. Imagine.
Yeah. It really happens, the tempers flare. But things taken up via written matter, I think that is the best route to take. And Chennai City, thankfully have gone by that way. So at least there's a formal complaint registered. And if we're talking about working exchange, there's always a disciplinary committee hearing that can listen to both parties. So Chennai City are going well, and then just coming back to how they've been performing. Fourth straight win on the trot, and things are looking great for them. But again, the pressure is piling. They're not too far away from being pushed down anytime. One bad performance, one slip in finishing, one slip in the defense. It just changes the course of the game.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to keep that for next week. They are obviously in a visible lead in the league table. Mohun Bagan have just lost a game, which has solidified. How long have you been waiting for that? How long?
Mohun Bagan at Real Kashmir. Talk about not being accustomomed to the weather. Blame it on.
No, they lost to Churchill Brothers at home. They beat Real Kashmir, right?
Yeah, that's about it. Mohun Bagan also, they can do things. So, is the man for them. We talked about Mohun Bagan, just goofing up midway through the season, and again getting somehow, having that chance towards the end. These are the decisions that the club makes. Getting back players, having them play just because they've had performances in the past, but doesn't really always work out. It's not a one-man team. We need to be seeing performance from all around, like other teams. Mohun Bagan is still relying on those one or two players to grind out and get the performance for them.
We're kind of veering off course here, but I want to remark how long you've been waiting to tear into Mohun Bagan, because they never lose a match. Last time they lost a match was last season, February or March that was. Since then they have played it was in April, Super Cup semi-final. That's the one they lost. Since then they have played an entire season of CFL. Probably 17-18 matches total that they have not lost a single one of. So yeah, congratulations, you finally got to tear into Mohun Bagan. But it's part of the problem is that, and the other part is that I think Sony Node was played prematurely. He should not have been played. I don't think he was ready for a 90-minute game at this point.
And it's not the case for the first time. We've seen it happen over seasons.
I'll tell you what this means actually. It kind of means that the Mohun Bagan management is giving a lot of respect to Chennai City, because they did not want the Chennai City game to be Sony Node's comeback game. They wanted to give him a tune-up against Churchill Brothers, and he was not that bad, except that his crosses just were not received that well. And Mohun Bagan usually so far what has happened in the previous games is that one department has failed, right? Either the defense fails or the attack fails. In this case, both fail, and of course they don't have a proper attacking midfielder, which has completely messed up their the flow of the game, and there is a gap between the defense and the attack. So yeah, all that jazz exists. They'll still have to do some signings when the window opens. But yeah, I think that's part of the reason why why Sony Node was played, was because Chennai City being the comeback game and him having a wobbly performance, Mohun Bagan don't see that as an option. They need a win against Chennai City if they are to be in the race. And that's why I wanted to leave the whole issue of whether Chennai City are going to win the league till the next episode, because the next episode is coming on the 3rd of December, which means we will know what has happened in that game. So we will have a much clearer picture of exactly how far Chennai City are going to go in this season. And it's looking very, very positive for them. Refereeing shenanigans aside, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're kind of weird, of course. There, we have a lot of good matches coming up over the week. ATK is going to Mumbai. There's Bengaluru are taking on Pune City and Delhi Dynamos. I-League is on a break till Friday. So I think that's a good thing for us, because we don't have to go and watch 3 games a day and write about them and analyze them and all that stuff. But yeah, next week when we come back, we will have a detailed analysis of where things stand in I-League and how much of a chance Chennai City have. And we will also discuss the ISL top 4 race. It's not a title race. Because the real action lies between the 3rd position and the 6th position. The top 2 just don't matter anymore after a while. So we will be going into that. But dude, final word on you on the referee issue. What do you think needs to happen for a quick fix? Because see, the new referees will take a 3-4 year period to create. Even if we assume that the process started in 2016, before the referees became accustomed to dual leagues. Still, then it's an issue, right? It's an issue that going to stay with us for the next 2-3 years. Even if we have a restructuring of leagues, till then we will have ISL, League 1 and League 2, 3 leagues that 3 growing leagues actually. Like there will be more and more teams every year that these referees need to cover. And I just don't see how the numbers will keep up with the extra number of matches we're getting every season.
I think the short-term solution to this would be at least getting, the way we're looking at manpower over here. The overburdening of the Indian referees is basically the problem that we're facing, and that's leading to mistakes on field, mistakes, getting this off the field into play. So first thing would be get in a manpower of referees from possibly ISL can look into the budget. I-League is really much more on a tighter budget than ISL. So getting a set of referees who are quite okay to referee national matches, that would be helpful for the Indian referees. I'm not getting a whole lot of referees to assist, but at least a couple of referees to just reduce the burden on the Indian referees, work in tandem with the Indian referees, they possibly have getting the experience that they have, and the workshops also are good to go ahead, but we need to get a solution that is we're still looking at half the season gone, so the whole lot of matches remaining. So this can be one way that I can think about right now to get in the set of referees with National League match experience, and have them gel along with the current Indian lot.
Yeah, well, you just suggested bringing referees in from overseas, which I think has made the director of referees, Gautam Kaur, very angry. You can expect some emails that are telling you off. So yeah, that's about it this week. Come back next week. We will be looking into whatever is happening at I-League and ISL. Slowly start building up, because remember, December means we are just 1 month away from Asian Cup, which everything in the world is all about. Everything that's happening anywhere is leading up to Asian Cup. So we'll be getting you more details and in-depth stuff about that. If you are listening to this on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, and all the other stuff I say every time when the episode comes to an end. You can listen to this on ivmpodcast.com and the IVM Podcast app, where you can get this podcast and many other, all the best Indian podcasts all in one place, which is great to have. Follow TFG Football on Twitter for all the updates on Indian football, and go to thefangarage.com to keep abreast with all the latest stories happening in Indian sports. Thanks for listening. Come back next week.
Give me a word. या कोई भी लाइन, कुछ भी हो सकता है यार. क्या कहा आपने? टोपी. Okay. Mohan Joshi hated wearing topis. He felt suffocated in them. टोपी पहनते ही उसे स्कूल की याद आती थी. where of course he had no choice but to wear a topi. But जिस दिन pass out हुआ, उसी दिन उसने अपनी टोपी का bonfire बना दिया. And since then, he'd never worn a cap or a hat. ना कड़कती धूप में, and not even to बचाओ from the ठंडी. But from Monday 26th February, Mohan Joshi had to wear a topi all the time. Why? Because if he didn't, everyone around him knew exactly what क्या सोच रहा था. They knew that he was wondering how the girl in the yellow churidar would look बिना कपड़े के. They knew when he was calling the boss a sadela tomato. They knew everything. पर ये सब हुआ कैसे? अरे भाई, यही तो स्टोरी है. और ये स्टोरी आप ही ने मुझे दिया by giving me the starting word. यही तो है The Croc's Tales. Words आपके, कहानी आपके लिए. Catch the stories on Monday and Thursday on the IVM website, app, and anywhere you get your podcast from. See you soon.
Every week comes a show where three people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on the IVM podcast app to IVM Likes. Batman approves this message. Thank you, Batman.